Recording in progress.
And here's another important thing that we can all consider. Making happiness central to spiritual life is only self-serving if we see ourselves as separate from others. But in fact, we are inextricably interconnected with everybody in our lives. When we act from joy, we give more. We have more to give. So let's realize that it's not up to us to go out and save the world. The world is actually not meant to be saved. It's up to us, as Pema Chodron says, to see it as a joyful responsibility to bring forth the gifts that we have been given to make a difference in the world. May it be so. And what a wonderful season to open ourselves to joy while we're here together. Okay, enough of the heavy. So I can spend hours and hours in the children's section of the library or bookstore. I love children's books. And I came across one book. You guys might have already seen it before, but I never had. And it is The Reason for the Alligator on the Piano. It is the Cajun take on The Night Before Christmas. So we all know the traditional Night Before Christmas, right? 'Twas the night, finish the line. 'Twas the night before Christmas when not a creature was stirring. The stockings were hung in hopes that St. Nicholas would be there. Case in point, yes. So the Cajun take on this is, I thought, just really delightful. So it starts the same. 'Twas the night before Christmas, but here we see the chillins all snug on de floe. 'Cause deer on the bayou, when I stretch my neck stiff, deer's 8 alligator a pullin' de skiff. And a little fat drover with a long pullin' stick, I know right away gotta be old St. Nick. He calls, "Ha, Gaston, ha, Taboy, ha, Pierre," and I'll say, "Gee, Ninette, gee, Suzette, Celeste, and Renee." And here they arrive. Not quite with the finesse of reindeer, but rather frightening, I would think. And this one says, "His eyes, how did he shine? His dimple, how merry. Maybe he been drinking de wine from Blackberry." And I heard him shout loud as a splashin' he go, "Merry Christmas to all till I see you some mo." And now Leonard is going to read us a story about a boy in a train, because a lot of our little kids like trains.
Good morning. Yes, to you. This is The Christmas Train by Thomas Monson. Every year my mother would ask me, "Tommy, have you thought about what you want for Christmas?" This year I yearned as only a boy could do. I was yearning for a train. I didn't want a common wind-up train that was affordable. No. I rather wanted one that operated through the magic of electricity. And these were times when many families were not earning a lot of money, yet Mother and Dad, through some sacrifice, I'm sure, presented me on Christmas morning with a beautiful electric train. For hours I operated the transformer. You remember that, don't you? Pulling the lever, the train would go forward, then it would go back, around and around with endless energy. I didn't have to wind it up. About then, Mother entered the living room and said to me, she had purchased a wind-up train for Mrs. Hanson's son, Mark, who lived across the street. Curious, I asked if I could see the train. The engine was short and blocky and not long and sleek like my nicer model. However, I did notice it had an oil tanker car that was part of this inexpensive set. My train had no such car, and I began to feel pangs of envy. I put up such a fuss, Mother surrendered to me and my pleadings and handed me the oil tanker car. She said, if you need it more than Mark, you take it. Well, I put the oil tanker car with my train, of course. My electric train with endless energy could pull easily the additional oil tanker car. I was quite pleased with my result. Soon after, Mother invited me to accompany her to the Hanson's house, so we gathered up Mark's remaining cars and wind-up engine and walked over to his house. I'll never forget the look on Mark's face when he saw the train. Mark was a year or two older than me, and he had never anticipated such a gift and was thrilled beyond words. He would wind the key on his little train and watch it chug around the track, pulling its cars and caboose. Just before we were about to leave, my mother asked, "What do you train, Tommy?" When I looked in her eye, I felt a keen sense of guilt and my awareness of selfishness. I said to Mother, "Wait just a moment, I'll be right back." As swiftly as my legs would carry me, I ran across the street, up the porch, and burst into the house. I picked up that old tanker car and one more and ran back to Hanson's house. I joyfully said to Mark, "We forgot to bring 2 cars from your train." I didn't know who was happier, Mark or my mother. What I do know is that was the day when I felt in my heart that giving had replaced getting. Mark coupled the 2 extra cars to his set and placed them on the track. "Do you want to stay and watch with me?" "Sure," I said. I watched the wind-up engine make its labored way around the track and saw Mark's face beaming. I felt a supreme joy, difficult to describe and impossible to forget. The spirit of Christmas filled my soul.
Thank you, Leonard. So now for our meditation, let's inhale a deep breath and just release it with a sigh. So. Again, deeper. Good. Very nice. For this simple meditation, we're just going to get comfy in our seats, close our eyes, or just lower your gaze if you'd rather. Now, I invite you to remember a moment in your life, it doesn't matter how young or old you were, when you felt joy. When you felt joyful and safe with all your needs met. It could be as a child anticipating Santa's visit, a time when you really connected with nature, maybe when you found the love of your life or spent time with friends, grandchildren. Whatever comes to mind, just connect with a feeling of joy. And if nothing comes quickly to mind, imagine what that feels like. Imagine what it's like to feel joy, safety, and all your needs met, because the brain can't tell a difference between memory and what is imagined. Regardless of the condition or circumstances of your life, regardless of your challenges, you can access the heart space of joy and safety. Feeling joy is coming home to your whole self. It is your inheritance. You can rest in this awareness, this completeness. You can come back to this heart space whenever you need strength. And again, let's just continue feeling what joy feels like. And now I invite you to open your eyes and come back to the room, and we'll sing together the first verse of Silent Night. When I was a little girl, my favorite books were Little House on the Prairie. And my favorite story was called Mr. Edwards Meets Santa Claus. Erin Kullman, who lit our Chalice, is also a big fan of Little House on the Prairie, and we bonded over this the other night. How many of you have seen that show or read the books? I don't know if our younger people have, but yeah. Well, you might recall that Laura and Mary were sisters who lived in a little house with their pa, ma, their little sister Carrie, and their good old bulldog Jack. One Christmas that Laura tells about is where there was no ground because it kept raining and raining and raining. Laura and Mary were sad because since there was no snow, Santa would have to travel by pack mule. And because the creek was rising so high, they knew there was no way that Santa could make it across that icy water to give them their gifts. The only time they got gifts all year long was Christmas, and they knew it would be impossible for Santa to come this year. The day before Christmas, Pa came in bringing a big fat turkey that they would cook for Christmas dinner. Mr. Edwards had been asked to eat Christmas dinner with them, but Pa shook his head and said a man would risk his neck trying to cross that creek now. No, he said, I'm afraid Edwards is going to have to be alone for Christmas. That current is way too strong. We'll just have to make up our minds that Edwards won't be here tomorrow. Of course, that meant that Santa wouldn't come either. That night after supper, Laura and Mary washed up, put on their pajamas, finished decorating the tree. And then they laid in bed. Pa and Ma sat silently by the fire. Ma asked Pa why he didn't play his fiddle, and he said, I just don't seem to have the heart to, Caroline. After a while, Ma suddenly stood up. I'm going to hang your stockings, girls. Maybe something will happen. Laura's heart jumped. But then she thought again of the creek and knew that nothing could happen. "You've just made it worse, Caroline," she heard Pa say quietly. Finally, Laura fell to sleep, and the next thing she knew, it was morning, and Jack was growling savagely, and the door lock was rattling on its hinges. There on the porch stood Mr. Edwards, frozen like a snowman. "That was too big a risk, Edwards. We're glad you're here, but that was too big a risk for Christmas dinner," said Pa. "Oh, just let me sit by the fire. I'll be all right." "Your little ones had to have Christmas," Mr. Edwards replied. "No creek could stop me from after I fetched them their gifts." Laura sat straight up in bed. "Did you see Santa Claus?" she shouted. "I sure did," Mr. Edwards replied. "And Santa said to me, 'Well, Edwards, my heart is heavy because I know 2 little girls who have been very good this year, and I know they're expecting me to come, but now I'm going to have to disappoint them. There is no way that I can get across that creek. But maybe an old razorback like you could. Would you do me the favor to fetch them their gifts, Edward?' 'I'll do that, and with pleasure,' I said." Mr. Edwards bent down to open the pack that he had carried on his head to cross the stream. When they were allowed to look, Mr. Edwards was holding out 2 tin cups that would be their very own. They also got 2 long sticks of candy striped red and white. They were so pretty. Laura took a lick, but Mary said she was going to save hers. They got a little cake made with white flour and white sugar, sprinkles from their mom, and at the very bottom of each stocking was a shining, bright new penny. They had never thought of such a thing as having their very own penny. Imagine a cup, a stick of candy, a cake, and their very own penny. "Oh, thank you, Mr. Edwards, thank you," they said, and they meant it with all their heart. Mr. Edwards then gave Ma 9 sweet potatoes. Pa shook Mr. Edwards' hand and then shook it again. Pa and Ma and Mr. Edwards acted as if they were almost crying. That was a very happy Christmas indeed, one that Laura remembered the rest of her life. You know, everyone loves to get presents, so I thought that we could sing a famous song about getting presents. And if I could have some kids come up and hold some pictures to help us sing, we're going to do the 12 Days of Christmas, only the first 5, the Hawaiian style way. So if you guys will line up, I will. So it says, "Number 1 day of Christmas, my tutu gave to me." Tutu means grandma in Hawaiian. "Mine a bird and 1 papaya tree," and then we'll go through. All right. Do we have music for that, Claire? Are we? Okay. Thanks. All right. "Number 1 day of Christmas, my tutu gave to me a minor bird and 1 papaya tree. Number 2 day of Christmas, my tutu gave to me 2 coconuts and a minor bird and 1 papaya tree. Number 3 day of Christmas, my tutu gave to me 3 stripes with 2 coconuts and a minor bird and 1 papaya tree. Now hold it high. Day of Christmas, my tutu gave to me 4 flower legs, 3
one papaya tree. Do it this way. Yeah, hold it up this way. There, good. Big fat pigs, 4 flower lace, 2 coconuts, and a minor bird in one papaya tree. Very good. Good job. You can just put your pictures on the ground. Yeah. You can just put them on the ground. Thank you. Thank you. And we'll have the offering. Andrew, thank you. Thank you, Max.
Hello? Can you hear me? All right. Now is our turn to give a gift to the community outside our walls. In addition to supporting this church, part of your donation supports the local nonprofit organization, helping us to make a difference. During the months of November and December, we're sharing our plate with Neighbor to Neighbor. Quoting from their website, from homelessness through homeownership, Neighbor to Neighbor provides sustainable housing, supportive services, and education to families and individuals. Thank you.
Song, Christmas in the Trenches, is written by Cajun, and it's actually based, based on true events that happened in the Christmas of 1914 and 1915, well documented by memoirs and letters people wrote home from the front, and it's events that were unplanned, unprepared, and definitely unapproved by the powers that be. But it happened anyway, and it's a pretty remarkable
Oliver,
story.
I come from Liverpool. 2 years ago, the war was waiting for me after school. To Belgium and to Flanders, to Germany, to here. I fought for king and country I love dear. It was Christmas in the trenches, and the frost so bitter hung. The frozen fields of France were still, no Christmas songs were sung. Our families back in England were toasting us that day. They're brave and glorious lads so far away. Now I was lying with my messmates on the cold and rocky ground, when across the lines of battle came a most peculiar sound. Said I, now listen up, me boys, each soldier strained to hear, as one young German voice sang out so clear. He's singing bloody well, you know, my partner says to me. Soon one by one each German voice sang out in harmony. The cannons rested silent, and the gas clouds rolled no more, as Christmas brought us respite from the war. Well, as soon as they were finished, and a reverent pause was spent, God rest ye merry gentlemen struck up some lads from Kent. Oh, the next day sang was Stille Nacht, 'tis silent night, says I, and in two tongues one song filled up that sky. There's someone coming toward us, the front line sentry cried. All sights were trained on one lone figure trudging from their side. His truce flag like a Christmas star shone on that field so bright, as bravely he walked unarmed into the night. Then one by one on either side stepped into no man's land. With neither gun nor bayonet, we met there hand to hand. We shared some secret brandy and wished each other well. In a flare-lit football game, we gave 'em hell. We traded chocolates, cigarettes, and photographs from home. These sons and fathers far away from families of their own. Young Saunders played his squeeze box, and they had a violin. This curious and unlikely band of men. Soon daylight stole upon us, and France was France once more. With sad farewells, we all began to settle back to war. But the question haunted every heart that lived that wondrous night. Whose family have I fixed within my sight? It was Christmas in the trenches, and the frost so bitter hung. The frozen fields of France were warmed as songs of peace were sung. But the walls they'd kept between us to exact the work of war had crumbled and were gone forevermore. Oh, my name is Francis Tolliver. In Liverpool I dwell. Each Christmas comes since World War I, I've learned its lessons well. That the ones who call the shots won't be among the dead and lame. And on each end of the rifle, we're the same.
Good morning. Can you guys all hear me? Okay, great. My name is Micah Snellinger, and I extinguish our chalice with some joyful words of Ebenezer Scrooge after waking to find that he still had a life to live. "I don't know what to do," cried Scrooge, laughing and crying in the same breath. "I'm as light as a feather. I'm happy as an angel. I'm merry as a schoolboy. I'm giddy as a drunken man. A Merry Christmas to everybody. A Happy New Year to all the world." We extinguish our chalice, but we carry the light of joy in our hearts to bring joy to the world this holiday season.
And for our closing song, we're going to end with Jingle Bells. Sorrow and joy are both sides of the same coin, right? Jingle Bells was written by James Pierpont UU, and it was the first song ever broadcast from outer space. as a Christmas prank to the command station. I don't know if you knew that. Jingle Bells was not written as a Christmas song. It's a sleighing song, but it had such a catchy tune that the holiday just took it over. So let's stand and sing with all our gusto, Jingle Bells, to end our service.
And feel free to jingle your keys. Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh, o'er the fields we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtail ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing this sleighing song tonight. Oh, jingle bells, jingle, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. A day or two ago, I thought I'd take a ride, and soon Miss Fanny Bright was sitting by my side. The horse was mean and lank, misfortune seemed his lot. He got into a drifted bank and then he was upset. Oh, jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle